How's it going, everyone? It's Lucerk here, and today I'm going to be doing one of my most controversial videos yet. I'm going to be ranking every U.S. state in a tier list. So, let's get right into it. So, it is in alphabetical order, the first state being Alabama and the last state being Wyoming. Now, I will say, there are some of these states that I haven't been to. So, I'm not going to make a category saying, like I've never been to this state. I'm just going to rank it off of what I perceive about it. Alright, so let's get right into it. Let's become the most hated man in all of America. Here we go. Alabama. So, I've only been to Birmingham before. And I didn't have the best experience. It was like 12 o'clock at night, and I needed to stop to get a hotel. And it wasn't the finest experience. It was very shady. I feel bad about ranking states I really haven't explored that much, but from my personal experience, for what I experienced there, I'm going to put Alabama in the C tier. It wasn't terrible. Well, I'll put it in the B tier. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't awesome either. It was just like a Okay, next one, Alaska. So I've never been to Alaska, but I've heard that there's like not camels. There's like a meese walking around everywhere in Alaska, and there's bears everywhere, and it's cold all the time, and the days are super long sometimes, and the nights are super long other times. I think it would be a really beautiful place to live, but I'm pretty sure they pay their residents to live there, so I don't think it would be the best state to live in. So I'm going to rank Alaska at a B. Actually, I'll put it at A. Yeah. Okay, Arizona's next. Arizona's a really awesome state. I don't really know much about Arizona. I'm trying to think of what is there in Arizona. I know there's a lot of deserts. Like I said, I'm going to become the most hated man ever because I'm going to come across someone's state and I'm going to, reduce it down to deserts and they're going to be pissed. But I don't really know much about Arizona, and for that reason, I'm going to put it in my B tier. Okay, this next state, I can 100% say that I absolutely despise. If you're from Arkansas, you're probably a great person, but Arkansas is terrible, in my opinion. I drove through that state and it was just so plain and so boring. And I pulled over at a gas station, and both pumps at the gas station didn't work. So I had to drive a lot more just to find another gas station, and the pumps finally worked, and I was so happy so I could get out of there. So Arkansas is going in my D category for sure. Okay, California. I haven't heard the best things about California. Um, California is where most like celebrities and Silicon Valley and rich people live. But also heard they have like really bad problem with homelessness, and they they're just not good. That's what I've heard about them. They have really high taxes and really bad problem with the homeless. For that reason, I'm gonna put them in C because I feel like a lot of people from other countries may think that this state is a really awesome state because it's where Hollywood's at in Los Angeles. So I'm gonna put it in C because it gives the United States kind of a good name internationally, but that's only if you don't research about it. Because if you research about it, you'll find out it's not as good as you thought. Okay, Colorado. Personally, love this state. This state is one of the best states that I've ever been to. I've been to Denver, Colorado Springs, Boulder, and a bunch of other places, but I love it. Don't do horseback riding there. You can ski. There's a lot of outdoor stuff to do there, but it's also like they have big cities there too, and they have small towns too if that's what you like. So I'm putting Colorado in S tier. Would 10 out of 10 want to live here. Connecticut, I've never been, but it's in New England in the United States and up in the northeast of the country. Very cold, Don't know much about it, so I don't want to rate it wrong. So I'm just going to put it in the B category. DC. I've been to DC. It's a really small area, technically. Most of the people that work in DC live in Virginia or Maryland. Um, but it's where the nation's capital is, and it's where all our buildings are. So I'm going to put DC in the A category because it isn't really a state. Well, it is a state, but it's not really like a state. Next is Delaware. Then again, I don't know much about Delaware. Never been. And it is in New England. And it's cold. And that's what I have to say about your state. If you're waiting for Delaware, sorry, I don't know much about it. So you're going into the B category. You know what? Maybe I should make a category about don't know. Yeah, I'm going to make one of those. So here we go. We're going to make one that's called Never Been. I don't know. Okay. And we're going to put Connecticut and Delaware in there too. Next is Florida. Florida hasn't got the best headlines recently, but I think it's a nice place. Florida is where you have a lot of beaches. If you live there, then it's only a short flight or cruise to the Bahamas or the Caribbean islands. And did I already say Disney World? You got Disney World there, so that's a huge improvement. But all the Florida man stuff and all the crazy headlines going on, I'm gonna have to put Florida in the B tier. And I might drop California lower, but I don't know. They kind of have a similar reputation, so I'm gonna put Florida here. Okay, next is Georgia. Now I don't know much about Georgia, but I did get a speeding ticket here once, and it was a really expensive speeding ticket, but it was my fault because I was going extremely fast down the highway. But I don't know much about Georgia, but I know some people from Georgia, and they're pretty nice. So I'm gonna put this in the. I'll put it in the B tier. Don't know much about it, but I like it. Okay, next we got Hawaii. Hawaii's a beautiful place to live, but is it a realistic place to live? I feel like it has a similar situation as California. It's really popular with tourists in some areas, like Los Angeles and California. And because it is so popular, housing, if you want to live there, is super expensive. So much so that I think that the people who actually originally lived there can't really afford housing. Either that or the housing they do own is like super, super valuable. So not a lot of people can like settle there. Uh, but it's a pretty small place. So I'm going to say B tier because it doesn't have a hugely awful reputation, but it doesn't have like a terrible reputation either. Actually, for the beauty alone, I'd put it in A. Okay, next is Idaho. So Idaho is right next to Washington and Oregon. And I feel like it doesn't get a lot of press or attention, but I feel like it's also very beautiful there. It's in an area where there's a lot of national parks, and because it doesn't get a lot of attention, it would probably be a good place to live because it's not expensive. That's just my guess. So because of that, I would move to Idaho for sure. So because of that, I'm going to put Idaho in the A tier. Yeah. Okay, Illinois. This is where Chicago's at. And every time I see an Illinois license plate, I see Abraham Lincoln. So I'm guessing that Abraham Lincoln was born in Illinois. Not sure if that's right, but don't know much about Illinois other than that Chicago is there and Abraham Lincoln was born there. Maybe I think I'm just exposing my not non-existent knowledge of the United States states. I'm gonna put Illinois in the B tier. Well, actually, I'll put it in the never been, because I've never been to Illinois. Okay, Indiana's next. I think Indiana is where a NASCAR race is, and that's all I know about Indiana. I really don't know that much. Never been, so I'm gonna put in never been. Sorry if you're from Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, or Indiana, but as you'll see through this video goes, I don't know that many. So, or I've never been to that many. So, you're going here, Iowa. Never been to Iowa either. Yeah, never been to Iowa, and I can't really think of anything about Iowa. So I'm really sorry for those people, but you're going in the never been category. Maybe once I explore all 50 states, I can make a video. I can do an updated video. Or maybe if you can write in the comment section something about your state, I'll be able to learn something. Okay, next is Kansas. All right, stereotype about Kansas. This is where, what is it? Wizard of Oz was filmed, I believe. And it's like super large wheat fields, and that's it. And they also have the University of Kansas there, who's got the Jayhawks. This is a pretty plain state to live in, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It might be a good place to live. But then again, it's not much for like natural beauty unless you like plains. So I'm gonna put Kansas in the B tier. I have been to Kansas. I've just passed through. I haven't actually vacationed there. Okay. Kentucky. I knew one person from Kentucky, and they were an interesting person. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. But I've never been to Kentucky, so I don't think I have the authority to rate on it. Okay, Louisiana. I believe this is where New Orleans is, right? Yeah, this is New Orleans. But I haven't heard the best things about New Orleans either. I heard well, I've just heard things about New Orleans. I've never been there, so I'm not going to judge on it completely. But it's got a French influence on it, which is pretty cool culturally. And they have like a different culture than most US states. So because of that, I think that's pretty interesting and pretty unique to that state specifically. So because of that, I'm going to put it in the B tier. And they have New Orleans, which people probably travel around the world to visit. Don't know if it's the best when they get here, but hey, they visited. Okay, Maine. I believe this is where Stephen King is from. Stephen King is from Maine. They have the second most popular Portland in the United States after Oregon. And I've never been, but it looks like it'd be a pretty beautiful place to live and probably to eat lobster too if you like lobster. This is a really good place to go. So I'm going to put Maine in the A tier actually. Yeah. As you can see, S tier is for my most premium states ever. And A tier is like places that would be really cool to live or to visit. And then B tier is like average. C tier is like probably stay clear or avoid. And D is like do not go here. Okay, Maryland. So what I said about Maine could be applied to Maryland, but for crab. It's probably like a really good place to eat crab. So I'm gonna put Maryland. Oh, what else do they got? I can't just deduce it down to that. They have a really cool flag. I think they have the U.S. Naval Academy there, so that's pretty cool. And that's all I can think of about Maryland. I think I've been there once. It was when I was visiting D.C. actually, and it was a nice state. It's like a very port-focused town. So I'm gonna put it in the B tier. Okay, Massachusetts. This is where Boston is. This is where MIT is. This is where Mark Wahlberg's from, I think. This is where Dunkin' Donuts is from. These are just wild accusations that I'm throwing out about this state, but I do believe all these are true. And this actually is a pretty cool state, I would say. There's a lot of history here too, in regards to like America's founding. Probably a lot of founding fathers lived in Massachusetts, and I think they have Harvard here too. Maybe, yeah, I think they have Harvard and MIT. Just guessing, but I think they do. And because of that, I think they're an okay place to live. Okay. And education probably is really good there. Michigan, very cold here. A lot of geese. Um, Great Lakes and Detroit. I've been to Detroit. I haven't been to any other place in Michigan besides Detroit. I think that Michigan is an okay place to live. Uh, I just seen Detroit, so I don't know the rest about Michigan. So I'm just gonna put Michigan on the B tier. Yeah, I'll put it on the B tier. Okay. Next is Minnesota. Never been to Minnesota. Um, don't really know much about Minnesota, and I don't want to make anyone mad. So I'm gonna put Minnesota here in the never been. Okay, Mississippi. I've been to Mississippi. I'm trying to think of what I did there. Maybe I just passed through Mississippi. Very nice people in Mississippi, but not a lot of infrastructure. The roads weren't that good when I was passing through. It was pretty. It was hot. And there was very nice people there. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it in the B tier. Okay, Missouri. This is where Branson, Missouri is. This is also where the Ozarks are. Either that or Arkansas. Missouri, yes. I don't really know much about Missouri. I've been to Branson. It's very naturally beautiful there. So for that reason, I'm gonna put your state, if you're a Missouriite, in A. I'll drop it to B. Yeah, I'll drop it to B. Sorry. Montana. There's not a lot of people who live here, so I have a pretty safe bet that if I put this state somewhere, it's not gonna fit anyone because I don't think anyone lives here that's watching this video. If anyone actually is watching this video from Montana, please comment. I would like to know. Montana. Very beautiful place to live. Open, beautiful place to live. Borders Canada. And it kind of looks like a face on the left of Montana right here. So I'm going to put Montana in the A category. Nebraska. I think I've been to Nebraska. I think Omaha. And this state is pretty cold, but it's got a lot of history. And it's very beautiful for a plain state. So I'm gonna put it in the A tier. All right, Nevada, Las Vegas is the biggest thing that comes to mind. Also the desert, the Mojave. If you ever played Fallout New Vegas, I think this is where it's based. I mean, obviously, but I've never been personally, but I heard Vegas isn't that spectacular unless you really like gambling or I don't know whatever goes on in Vegas. I'm gonna put Vegas or Nevada in general here because I don't know enough about it. And then I feel like I'm putting way too many things in B tier. So I'm just gonna go quick look through here and decide what should I put in the C tier and what should I put in the A tier? I feel like not all of these are B tier. I'm sorry, but I did not have a good experience in Georgia. So I'm putting Georgia here in C tier. Okay, New Hampshire. Let's see, New Hampshire. Never been here. That one's easy. New Jersey, never been here either, but it's got a lot of character in New Jersey. Jersey Shore. I'm gonna put them in B category. Okay. New Mexico. This is where Breaking Bad's set, and I think there's a lot of crime in New Mexico. So I'm sorry for doing this. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. I'm putting New Mexico in the C category. Okay, New York. That's where New York City is at. This is what everyone around the world talks about when they want to go to, the U.S. They want to go to either Los Angeles or New York City, and then they get here, and then they realize what New York City is actually like. Like a rat eating a hot dog on the subway. I actually have never been to New York City or New York, so I wouldn't be able to tell you how it actually is. But the people there, at least the people living in New York City, have a no nonsense attitude, at least from what I've gathered. But the people are pretty all right. So I'm going to put them in the C tier. No, I can't do that. Yeah, I want to put them in this tier. I'm going to drop Nevada down to C tier just because of Las Vegas. Sorry, guys. Okay, North Carolina. I've been to North Carolina lots of times. I've been to Raleigh, I've been to Asheville, I've been to Wilmington, been to Outer Banks. Wait, have I? I don't remember. But I like North Carolina a lot. And I'm not even going to say anything. I've even been up to Appalachian State, wherever that is. So I'm going to put North Carolina in the A tier because it is a nice place. It really is. Okay, North Dakota. Never been here. Very cold, I've heard. And borders with Canada. So it's going here. Ohio. I know a ton of people from Ohio. And I think there's a lot of astronauts from Ohio. I can't judge it though because I've never been. But I've never been to some of these places either. I'm gonna put Ohio in the B tier because it doesn't seem like too bad of a place to live. Okay, Oklahoma. I'm gonna put Oklahoma in. I'm gonna put it in the C tier. It is a state that is not that spectacular in scenery, and there's also a problem with meth there. And I mean, there's cowboys that were there, and the land run happened there. But yeah, currently as a state, I would place it in C tier. Okay, Oregon. I don't know. I've heard bad things about Portland, Oregon, but for the rest of Oregon, I don't think it's that bad. So I'm gonna put them. I mean, I've heard bad things about literally every city. I've heard bad things about Detroit. Heard bad things about Atlanta. Heard bad things about Las Vegas. Heard bad things about really every major city. So I don't think I can judge it for scenery wise. I would put Oregon up here. So this is included all Oregon except for Portland. Okay. Pennsylvania. Philadelphia is here. A lot of history is here. I'm gonna put Pennsylvania over in the B tier. Rhode Island goes to the A tier because their accents are amazing, and it's a super small state. South Carolina, that is going to the A tier. The people here are very nice in South Carolina, and amazing culture here as well. South Dakota is going in the C tier. Well, yeah, C tier. Sorry, South Dakota. You got Mount Rushmore, but you also got the Pine Ridge Reservation, and you've got coldness going on all the time. Actually, you know what? If I had to switch it, I would probably. I've never been here, so I can't judge you. So I'm gonna put you in this. Okay, Tennessee. You got Memphis and you got Nashville in one place. That's pretty cool. But the drivers are insane in Tennessee. They're literally the worst drivers I've ever experienced, and because of that, I'm putting them in the B tier. Actually, I'm putting them in the C tier. But your state's cool, just not your drivers. Texas. Texas is such a huge state. There's literally so many things that can form your opinion about it, depending on what place you go to. If you're in West Texas, you're gonna hate it. If you're in East Texas, you might like it. If you're in the Texas and Oklahoma border, you might like that. If you're down southern, you might hate it. But for me personally, I really like Texas. So I'm gonna put Texas in A. Utah. Utah is a nice state, actually. I've been to Salt Lake City, Park City, Utah, where they held the Olympics, and I really like that personally. So I'm gonna put them in A because I would probably move there if I could. It's close to Colorado, so similar scenery. Oh, I just realized I haven't really moved anything to S tier except for Colorado. Damn. I'm at the end. I'm gonna just like put some in S tier. Okay, Vermont. Don't really know anything about. Virginia. I've been here. Um, and they're actually nature is beautiful. There's a lot of old people here, just like Florida. There's a lot of government here because that's where DC is, and I believe the Pentagon's here too. So I'm gonna put this in the I'm putting the A tier. Washington. I don't really know much about Washington, but I heard it's a very good place to live. So I'm gonna put an A. West Virginia. Don't really know much about that either. And I've never been, and I don't think I'm gonna be going there because I just haven't. I don't know anybody there, and I haven't found a reason to go. So I'm gonna go West Virginia here, even though there's a really popular song written about it. Okay, Wisconsin, don't really know much about, and Wyoming. I believe this is where the Yellowstone or Yosemite is. Not sure which one, but the people here are extremely nice, and I could see myself living in Wyoming. So with that, I'm gonna take Wyoming as the people and the scenery. I'm gonna take Wyoming. I'm gonna take probably take Utah as well. And I think that's I'll take Maine. Why not? Got one on like both coasts now. These are the states that I would 100% want to live in. Second states are states that I've been to or I've just really heard great things about, or I think would be an awesome state to live in. The This tier is not the worst things I've heard about them, but they're not like places that I would love to live. These are ones that I've heard bad things about and probably don't go there. And this is like terrible states that are just Arkansas on here. And then these are states that I've never been to or I don't really know much about. So um, if you hate me because I didn't rate your state well, that's just my opinion. But let me know in the comments. I would like to hear what you have to say. And I hope everyone is having a good day, and I hope you continue having a good day.